And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be reacting to Built in Black's video on DDG's Wealth Explained, why streaming pays more than rap. Not gonna lie to y'all, this is something that I find very interesting, that people in the streaming world are making more than people in the rap world. But when you just think about the amount of hands that are in the pot when it comes to streaming, it's not as many as it is with rap. So this should be quite interesting. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that. Let's get into the video, y'all. Let's go.
A lot of DDG. DDG was in college.
Yeah, that nigga was vlogging.
He blew up. I don't give a fuck what nobody says, bro.
Yeah, that's my guy.
He had this shit in a chokehold. He had me and my older brother watching his videos in 2016, 2017. Nigga, looking at it like this. I was in college studying all his videos. I said, yo, bro, what the fuck did this nigga do?
Today, DDG stands at the center of a new economic reality, one where attention outperforms contracts, consistency beats hype, and wealth is built not by being chosen, but by showing up every day. This is not a story about fame. It is a story about systems.
The one video that just put a nigga on, and then I'm just out here. You feel me? I'm just trying to make it. That's why I do this shit.
You know, it's crazy to me that, you know, this was all going on, and I'm trying to think where I was in 2016, 2017. I think I was trying to figure my own thing out, you know, with my clothing brand and stuff like that, which, by the way, I am still going to be working on and getting out there. But I was working on that, trying to figure out my living situation. I had got my first apartment in 2017. So it's crazy to know that this was going on in the background, unbeknownst to me, that this guy was doing his thing, you know, with making content.
A lot of niggas around me that don't do nothing with their life.
That's a fact.
And about all that, man, I'm trying to have the nice stuff, you know, the money, the girls, you know, just the happiness in general.
The money, yeah, the girls. Don't waste your time with all of that.
A happy place.
Get you one girl.
If they say money can't buy happiness, well, shit, nigga. Being broke can't either.
That's a fact. You know, money can do a lot for you depending on what you do with it, in my opinion. You know, a lot of people say that, oh, money can't, you know, make you happy. Money can solve problems. And what is the biggest problem that a lot of people in America specifically have? People have bills. They have problems with their bills. They got to neglect this bill to pay this bill, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And nowadays, you can't even rob Peter because Peter don't got it. So, yeah, money can't necessarily buy happiness, but money can solve problems. You know, you can take your money and go take a quick vacation or whatever to decompress, just get away from just the pressures of life. You can do that with money. If you don't have any money, you can't do that.
Harold Dwayne Granberry Jr. grew up in Pontiac, Michigan, far from the entertainment industry's traditional pipelines. His upbringing was not framed by privilege, but by practicality. Long before he earned money online, he learned how money worked. As a teenager, DDG sold candy at school, not as a novelty, but...
Yo, why is it that candy is like always the barrier to entry to being an entrepreneur? It always starts with selling candy. Now, I never got into the candy selling space because when I was in high school, we had vending machines all over the place, but there was like a few kids that was selling candy on the side because they were selling it for a lot cheaper until, you know, the administrators that be walking the halls caught them, and then they, you know, had to stop their business. But yeah, it's like candy is always one of those like easy ways to get into making money. You know, start with candy. That's the first thing you need to do.
Is a business. He worked retail jobs, including TJ Maxx, stacking small checks,
I never had a
and
job in
learning
high
what
school.
hourly labor felt like. Those early experiences mattered. They created...
And it wasn't that I didn't want a job. It's just my father at the time, you know, he wanted me to really focus on my studies and getting out of high school. So he felt that a job would be more of a distraction than it would be a benefit. So I never had a job in high school. I never had to work fast food, never worked in a Walmart or anything like that. But yeah.
Contrast. When DDG discovered YouTube, it was not viewed as a dream. It was viewed as an opportunity. While still in high school, he began uploading vlogs, challenges, and lifestyle content. The uploads were frequent, the growth was slow, but the learning curve was steep. He studied titles, thumbnails, retention, and audience behavior long before creator economy became a buzzword. After graduating as a class valedictorian, DDG enrolled at Central Michigan University. The path looked conventional, but something didn't add up. YouTube was paying him. At first, it was small, then it wasn't. When a single month brought in roughly $30,000, the decision became unavoidable. College was an expense. Content was an asset. He dropped out. That moment wasn't reckless. It was.
I too am a college dropout. I dropped out after probably like a year of doing that. Got a couple of college credits and I was just done with it because I'm like, this is a money pit to me. Like that's what it turned into. I'm like, yo, I need to get to some money right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't sit up here and wait for a job, not even a job, but like for school to eventually, because I needed things. I needed clothes, you know, I had a car. There was just things that I wanted that I couldn't necessarily get just sitting in school. So I let that go. And I don't regret it.
It's calculated. DDG understood something early. If $200 was possible, then $2,000 was reachable. If $2,000 was reachable, then $20,000 was inevitable. With effort, he chose scalability over safety. DDG's wealth is not built on a single breakout moment. It is built on stacked systems. YouTube is the backbone of DDG's empire. From high school onward, he treated the platform as infrastructure. Multiple channels, multiple formats, daily uploads. The algorithm became predictable because his behavior was consistent. Vlogs, challenges, lifestyle content, music drops, each fed into the same ecosystem. Views turned into ad revenue. Ad revenue funded better equipment. Better equipment improved quality. Quality accelerated growth. At peak periods, DDG has...
I ain't gonna lie. I know I keep stopping the video, but I just like to chime in and just, you know, spill my thoughts, especially after he said what he said with the whole equipment thing. I know some people don't really take content creating serious or like, oh, that's not a real job or whatever, but I'm gonna tell you now, this is not a cheap endeavor whatsoever. Like cameras, PC rigs, audio equipment, wires, cables, batteries, like this is not a cheap endeavor. It costs money. And like he said, it's very slow growth when getting into this space. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. It really takes consistency and time before you really start to see a return on your investment. You just got to be persistent and consistent. You hear that word a lot nowadays, consistency. Well, it is true. You have to have consistency, but it's not a cheap endeavor is basically what I'm saying in a nutshell. But yeah, I'm gonna stop stopping the video as much. So
publicly stated that he received checks as high as $400,000 in a single month from YouTube alone. Those checks funded his move to Los Angeles. They paid for studio time. They created leverage.
I wouldn't have moved to LA.
YouTube was not abandoned.
I would probably have
when
stayed
music
right here in
entered the
Atlanta.
picture. It remained active, growing, and monetized. That decision insulated
more for your
him
money
from
out here.
industry volatility. DDG's music career is real, but it is not the core financial engine. His father was an audio engineer, giving him early exposure to studio environments. Long before his first official releases, DDG had already been experimenting with sound and recording. Tracks like Lettuce gained traction quickly, benefiting from his existing YouTube
I know a lot of
audience.
people don't really
When
give him
Moonwalking
credit for
in
his
Calabasas
music
exploded
endeavors,
and
but
went
you
double
gotta respect
platinum,
that hustle.
DDG officially crossed into mainstream visibility. Signed to Epic Records, he released multiple albums, toured, and earned streaming revenue. Music expanded his brand, placed him on charts, and gave him cultural legitimacy. But by his own admission, rap pays less than people assume, especially compared to streaming. Music became a brand amplifier.
I mean, naturally, because when it comes to music, there's so many hands in the pot. You know, you got to pay producers, the label, you got to pay for, you know, going on tour and stuff like that. A lot of stuff you have to come out of pocket for yourself, you know, so it's just so many hands in the pot when it comes to the money you make in music, period. So you don't really get to see a lot of that, which is why a lot of these artists really depend on that tour money to hold them over. And if you're not really popping like that, and you don't really, this is why you see a lot of artists, they're now jumping into this now. They want to be streamers and stuff like that because they see the potential. They see the amount of money you can make. So they're like, well, I can take my star power and I can make money doing that. For some, it works. For a lot, it doesn't. But that's generally how it goes nowadays.
Not the financial backbone. Twitch changed everything. During an interview at Complex Con, DDG stated plainly that he made more money from 30 days of streaming than from his record deal. That statement reframed the conversation. Streaming offers direct monetization, immediate feedback loops, daily income potential. Unlike music, where payouts are delayed and diluted, streaming pays in real time. Attention converts instantly into cash. DDG leaned into that reality. He streamed frequently, built parasocial loyalty, and monetized presence rather than product. His conclusion was blunt. Streamers make more than rappers, not because rappers lack talent, but because platforms reward time spent, not cultural prestige. With millions of followers across platforms, DDG leveraged brand deals as a supplementary income stream. Advertisers value trust and reach, and DDG commands
Say what you
both.
want
He
about
also
DDG,
launched
but he's a
Zooted
smart
End,
dude.
his own
He's a
label,
smart dude.
creating long-term optionality. Merchandise expanded into Pontiac Made, turning identity into commerce. This diversification is intentional. As DDG has said himself, there's too many ways to make money. That mindset is structural, not motivational. DDG's lifestyle is visible, but it is also fragile. Multiple homes, multiple cars, jewelry, travel, family responsibilities, a child. The expenses stack quickly. Unlike legacy wealth, DDG's money is operational. It requires activity. During live streams, he has openly admitted that if he stops working, the structure collapses. If I don't work, I'll go broke ASAP. That admission is not weakness. It is transparency. It highlights the difference between passive wealth and performance-based wealth. DDG lives well, but that comfort is maintained through relentless output. 3 videos a day. 7 videos in a day. No missed uploads. This is not leisure wealth. It is.
You know, that really hit home right there because it makes sense. You know, unless you start up a tech company or a social media platform that's doing numbers where you can get brought out from one of these bigger companies and you can just ride off into the sunset, I could see how this would have to be a consistent thing. I mean, even me, with me making videos, like I'm making videos every day to build my platform on YouTube. And I've been doing YouTube, I want to say it's since 2007. And back then I was just joking around. I have another YouTube channel where I had like 4 videos on there, but I was just goofing around because this was during like the MySpace days. But that just shows you how long I've been messing with YouTube, you know. And then I started this channel in 2010. And it's just now really starting to pick back up momentum. So consistency is everything. Like this isn't like wealth where you can just chill. Like you gotta keep working. You know what I'm saying?
Is workload wealth. One of DDG's most overlooked moves is his focus on ownership. As his leverage increased, so did his negotiating power. He pushed toward owning his masters, retaining control over his catalog and revenue streams. Ownership meant higher long-term profit, fewer intermediaries, more strategic freedom. He also emphasizes diversification constantly. Music, YouTube, streaming, brand deals, business ventures. No single platform defines him. That strategy protects against algorithm shifts, label politics, and cultural volatility. Culturally, DDG stands as proof that creators who control attention control outcomes. He is not the biggest rapper, but he is one of the smartest operators. Fans debate whether his music matters more than his streams. That debate misses the point. The system works.
A lot of DDG. DDG was in college.
Yeah, that nigga was vlogging. Like
He blew up.
man.
I don't give a fuck what nobody says, bro.
Yeah, that's my guy.
He had this shit in a chokehold. He had me and my older brother watching his videos in 2016, 2017. Nigga, looking at it like this. I was in college studying all his videos. I said, yo, bro, what the fuck did this nigga do?
All right, y'all. So that's going to be the end of that video. Yeah, that was a good one. It definitely hit home, at least for me, as far as, you know, what you can do with streaming, how you can really boss up if you know what you're doing and you take it serious, and you can make a lot of money. But it does require a lot of work, and you got to be consistent. It's all gas, no brakes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be working, because that is a machine that has to constantly be fed. You know, when you get into this content creating space, it's a constant machine that needs to be fed. See, it's different than being a rapper. And that's one thing I want to say, is that for the longest, if you were a rapper, you know, you come out with a mixtape and it does numbers, you can tour off of that mixtape or whatever, or album, and make a boatload of money. But when you're in this type of world, you got to constantly be, every single video is its own mixtape. It's like you're dropping a mixtape every single day for some content creators. So this is a totally different beast over here. And I think a lot of these like rappers and stuff like that, they don't really get it until they get over here. They're like, oh, this ain't nothing to really just be joking about or think it's a game. No, this is for real. Like, y'all can just make music, you know, compile a bunch of beats, rap over it, drop the project. With this, you got to constantly be coming up with new ideas and things like that. So completely different beast. But yeah, y'all let me know down in the comments what y'all thought about that, you know, as far as being a streamer and it being more of a lucrative outcome than rap. You know, y'all get down there and let me know what y'all think. But that's going to wrap up this video. I'm about to actually get started on recording another reaction that I seen this video. I'm going to get to that. But make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to do that. And it's your boy Robbie, and I'm out.